Welcome back to the Pop of the Man podcast. I'm your host, Jay. With me today, I have my host, Delon. What's up, Delon?
Chaos is a ladder. I forgot Cord's new catchphrase, but hey, how you doing?
All right, we got the number one Suns fan in the nation. We got Cam with us. What's up, Cam?
Hey, man, you already know what it is. Suns Nation, still rocking with the Brooklyn Nets because of my boy Steve Nash. And this week, with our last Black History fact about NBA, we are going to discuss John McClendon, who was a friend and a mentee of James Naismith himself, and he actually was the first coach to implement the fast break system. He was a coach at Tennessee State, and he was the first coach to incorporate the fast break system. So shout out to him. No, Steve Nash did not start the 8 seconds to list. It was this black man right here. I love you, Nash, but that's just not true. Shout out to you and D'Antoni.
Shout out to you. I'm glad you scrolled up because at first all I could see was hands. I'm like, man, them hands pretty pale.
Oh God, I didn't know that was a black dude. I was like, I'm about to say this is a very non-black fact.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I was like, wait a minute, this is a Black History fact, right? I should have think to myself. Maybe because basketball is a black sport. Maybe that's what Cam meant.
Did we have Black History facts before this week?
I did the Celtics thing last week.
Say,
No, the week
before.
But Cam wasn't here last week.
And then I wasn't here the first week of Black History Month. I actually gave Jordan the fact, but he didn't say it. And then the next week I said that fact. Then the next week we didn't record.
I said we did the news.
And then this week I got.
All right.
Can't say like 5 weeks. It's only 3 in February. I'm playing.
I kept my receipts, buddy.
But I say it is the shortest month of the year.
Yeah, don't remind me. But also, join us today. We have the Murder Mitten Cowboy. We have none other than John. What's up, John?
It's your boy. I ain't core, but I keep that 40 on me like I'm Zubac. Good.
You know what we do. We give you our takes on basketball, music, everything in between. This is episode 127 of the Pop of the Man podcast. Only announcement we have is that, follow us on Twitter at Podcast Man. We have a It Was Written episode coming next month where we're going to sit down and talk about the greatness that is It Was Written. So stay tuned for that. And also the only announcement is this is going to be a predominantly basketball episode. So if you love hoops, you're in the right place. So the biggest story of the week, and it's going to be I think it'll probably be the most entertaining story of the week. The NBA All-Stars have been announced. We already know who the starters were. I don't know if we talked about the starters on the show. I can't remember if we did or not. But the starters,
because they were last week when we have episodes.
Yeah, that's right. If y'all watched the Popular Demand News episode, you did see the starters, which is Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Bron, Kawhi, Jokic for the starters. East is Kyrie, Beal, KD, Giannis, and Joel Embiid for the East. Selected for the West were AD, PG, Gobert, Dame, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Zion. And the East was Brown, James Harden, who is crazy that he's an Eastern All-Star now. Zach LaVine,
and not a starter.
Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Vucevic, Vucci man.
Or in the words of who's that? Kendrick Perkins. Whatever. That nigga was having a stroke.
What you about to say, Cal?
Do people call him Vucci man?
Yeah, yes.
They do now.
Yes.
They do now.
The streets.
Jordan just freestyled that? I'd be scared if he did. I'd be scared if he did.
That boy was in the lab cooking that up. He was like, "Ooh, I can't wait to record. I got something for these niggas."
I've seen it probably combined 2 times on Twitter, and both times made me laugh.
I've never seen it, but I love it.
But anyway, those are the All-Stars. So the question is, so we're not going to talk about who got picked. We're going to talk about who did not get picked because that's the most controversial and that's the fun thing to talk about is who didn't get selected. So we'll talk about the Western Conference snubs. I think there's only like one real snub that anybody really cared about in the Western Conference. Cam, you want to tell us about it?
Well, so this is the thing. When you did your monologue or whatever it is to start, when the information that you prefaced all this with, you didn't mention the injury replacements. I don't. Okay, there you go. If you want to do.
Oh yeah. So the injury replacement was Anthony Davis out. So Devin Booker will replace him in the All-Star game. And then in the East, KD out with hamstring will be replaced by Jason Tatum in the starting lineup. And I think the Eastern All-Star that was picked to replace him will be Sabonis.
Yeah. So I'll start with Devin Booker as a snub, quote unquote. He made it, but he really didn't make it. This is his second year just being somebody's 13th best player in the conference. But so this is my thing. Me and my friend, who is also a Suns fan, had a conversation about this, and we argued whether or not Devin Booker was truly snubbed. I said they had to have a Suns player in there because we have been as good as we are. And I said maybe two, but then I looked at the players that got chosen over him. And then I tried to think about, well, if this was a positionless thing, then Devin Booker would have made it. And I don't think that Rudy Gobert would have made it. Mm-hmm. Or if you look at some of the other guys that did, there could be an argument for him to make it over some of the other guys that made it. But because they have to choose, I think they have to, when they do the bench, there's 5 starters.
It's 3 forwards.
Yeah, it's 3. It's the way they do it is I think it's 3 backcourt players. 3 front court players and 2 backcourt players, and then 2 high cards or something like that. But Donovan Mitchell, there was no question whether or not he was gonna make it. Him and Book actually have very comparable numbers, and his team is the best team in the NBA.
I'm about to say best player in the best team.
Right, and so he was gonna make it. Dame's been going crazy. Dame should have been a starter, so he was gonna make it. And then the other player was, who was the other guard that I'm missing? Dame, Lillard, and Curry. Well, Curry. Yeah, Curry's a starter. But yeah, Dame, Donovan. Yeah, Dame, Donovan Mitchell, and Chris Paul. So Chris Paul was the last guy, and the reason that I thought Chris Paul was probably questionable is because the numbers aren't really there, but the impact he's had on the team would lend people to think Chris Paul is actually closer, I think higher in the quote unquote MVP ladder, whatever you want to call it. But I will say this. I think Chris Paul thinks that Devin Booker should have made it over him. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he didn't, it's debatable. I don't think Booker was, I knew Booker was going to get in when Anthony Davis couldn't play. So I really wasn't tripping about that. But I don't like that he has not made it yet. He hasn't truly been an all-star yet. Go ahead.
All I wanted to hear from you was, should Devin Booker make it over Chris Paul specifically? That's all I wanted to hear.
Okay, you want me to tell you whether he should have or not? I
want you to say Chris Paul or Devin Booker.
I love Booker, man, but I think Chris Paul should. I think Chris Paul deserves to be in. I'm gonna be honest with you.
And I'm glad you said that, Cam, because it's funny. Last year, when the All-Star stars were picked, Devin Booker was excluded. The one guard that people said should have made it over Devin Booker was Chris Paul. And it was like, why did Chris Paul get in on Devin Booker? Devin Booker numbers are better, even though Chris Paul had better assists, steals, rebounds. Mm-hmm. Pretty much everything except scoring. Again, that's Devin Booker's calling card. Yeah, he's far better than Chris Paul there. But the main thing that got him in was the fact that he led a team that people didn't think was going to be in the playoffs to a playoff picture. So it doesn't surprise me that Chris Paul leaves that team that's now not in the playoff picture after he's departed, and he's joined a team that was not in the playoff picture last year, and now they're competing close, damn near. Y'all could be
one seed, yeah.
Y'all could. I don't know about one seed, but y'all could definitely get this 2 seed if a string of events could happen. Y'all could definitely snag 2 seed, and that's powered by Chris Paul. So it doesn't surprise me that the bench that is picked by the coaches saw impact and they saw winning, because usually coaches prioritize winning. So it didn't surprise me that they said we're gonna pick Chris Paul because he's a winner. That's what he does. We think he's responsible for the success behind the Suns this year, and I feel like that's why he got it. So I didn't think I didn't think he got snubbed. I will say that the least deserving All-Star out of everybody that got picked was probably Zion, but they needed a forward.
I say AD, not Zion. I say AD was the least deserving, and that may be just because we know who AD can be, and he's very much underperformed. But we can't. I don't know if we can take away what he has done just because we know what he can do. But Zion, I can't take away from Zion how insane his numbers are right now. Like that dude is on his hair. Like has the most. I think he has the most points of any player ever through the first 50 games in the NBA. And like Zion. I don't even think we look at Zion as like, man, he's a scorer. I don't think we know he's efficient, but I don't think anybody looks at Zion and like, yeah, he's a scorer. But I think he's gonna have that same thing as LeBron has, to where he's gonna rack up a whole lot of points, even though we don't see him as a scorer, just because it's so easy for him to score.
At about 6'6", Zion is leading the league in field goal percentage in the paint at 20 years old. A 6'6", 20-year-old is leading the league in field goal percentage in the paint. And he's doing that by averaging 26 points a game. He's averaging 7 rebounds and about 3 assists to go with it. So he's killing it. Just for reference, so I hope you didn't turn your podcast off when I heard Eric that Cam said AD shouldn't have even been an all-star. But just for reference, AD has just been averaging 23, 8, and 3. So similar numbers, except Zion's been averaging more points and he's been way more efficient inside the paint than AD. AD's also been a far superior.
And played more games.
Yeah, and Zion has played more games.
Which is wild because of Zion.
Because it's Zion.
Exactly.
And also don't forget who he's sharing the paint with, and who a lot of people thought that was going to impede the way he played. He's sharing the paint with Steven Adams. And Steven Adams is not like
the nigga that don't lead the paint.
Exactly. And it's not like Steven Adams is playing 15 minutes a game. Like he plays like
he's a
lot.
Yep.
He's a starter. So it's like he's still doing his thing, and we even though we saw like a glimpse of it his first game when he went like what 5 for 6 from 3. Actually, no, he went like 5 from 3. Like, he's not obviously, he's not out in the perimeter that often, but it's like he's a threat, like he's like teams aren't necessarily daring him to shoot, but they're also still, they're kind of like in the middle of like daring to shoot, but also like not leaving him open. So they're kind of like in like no man's land, because like, it's not the prettiest delivery, but we know he can be, at least a threat from out there. But at the same time, he ain't got to do that because he's Zion. He's a 6'6" guy who can do exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, just dribble to your chest and knock you 2 feet back.
Man.
So 2 things here. One, Zion was going to make it because of the star power he has, and because of the things that he's doing on the court, and the fact that he's like starting to, the impact he has, and the start of he's starting to initiate offense, bringing the ball up court and all that. So he was going to make it. And the thing that I'll say this, and this is probably going to make a lot of Lakers fans mad. Anthony Davis this season has been Christian Wood. Hurt and averaging the same amount of points. Christian Wood is actually rebounding more, and I think he's probably averaging more assists too. So you put Christian Wood on Lakers, if you switch him and AD out, I don't know how much different their records would be.
And that's what I was going to say, Cam. Like, I know that's like I know that's AD slander. That's also a Christian Wood compliment because Christian Wood side of the thing, like Christian play very well.
Exactly. I think it's more of a Christian Wood compliment than a AD slander. I think it's more of that, honestly.
And like, it's not even really AD. It's really AD slander when AD came out and said himself, "I suck." Like, it's so funny because AD came out and said, "I suck. I'm playing bad this year," and he becomes an all-star.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That just shows you how fucking good Anthony Davis is.
And it's more so like coaches respected, his work, his body of work, and said that we know who he is. He deserves an all-star.
Well, also, and like we said, they value winning as well. And Lakers do have the second or third best record in the Western Conference, and he's the second best player on the team. So
yeah. So
isn't the record without AD better than the record with AD?
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Their record is far better with AD than without AD. Yeah. At first they had like a winning record when AD doesn't play, but that changed in a matter of like a week and a half.
I was about to say, like, in a short span of time, man.
They literally lost almost since AD went down against the Nuggets. They lost every game except against the Blazers and I think one other game.
So, plus, like right when he stopped playing, they played 4 overtime games and 5 games, and like 3 of them, like one was to the Pistons.
Begging to sit down.
Yeah. Like I mean, like they were going to OT with teams that they should blow out the water with or without AD.
Yeah, but last, and we can wrap up the West. But the last thing I'll say is about the Lakers and AD's impact on the team. The Lakers, we know them last year from the playoff run that they had as this is the reason they won is because they're one of the few teams that still play defense. The Lakers went from, I think they were 5th in the NBA in defense when AD was playing, And now, ever since AD hasn't played, they have the worst defensive rating, worse than the Nets. So
you're telling me Anthony Davis, despite playing bad, is the real MVP?
I am saying that Anthony Davis should have been Defensive Player of the Year last year.
That's fair.
Stop.
All right, John. So let's go ahead and move on to the East. Before we go to the East, shout out to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shout out to that boy with the King. Shout out to De'Aaron Fox. Shout out to Brandon Ingram. They've been playing like all stars. It just
Beasley.
Yeah,
it's just the West.
It's the West, man. I was just
Malik Beasley.
Moving on to the East.
Best shooter in and out.
I was about to say he on a different All-Star team.
Sniper.
Nigga be on Rikers Island hooping. But the sub for KD was Sabonis, who a lot of people were surprised did not make it anyway, because I think Sabonis averaging like 22 and like 11 or 12 rebounds.
Having a phenomenal season.
Season, playing pretty good.
Once you're done with your point, I just want to say something about. I just want to piggyback off what you're saying.
But it looks like he lost out to the Vucci band, the guy with Orlando. I think that was the most surprising All-Star selection out of both conferences. Like, I did not see that coming. I said, Sabonis gonna be a pick. He didn't even cross my mind. I didn't think like, oh yeah, Vucevic might be an all-star, but he got in. And like I said, coaches usually prioritize winning, but in this case they didn't, because the Magic are currently, let me see, where are the Magic at currently in the Eastern Conference?
They're like 12 and like 18.
They're currently the 13th seed, and yeah, so I'm confused.
And I think Sabonis' numbers are actually better than Vucevic's numbers too.
They're similar. That's the thing about it.
Very.
So I wouldn't say his are just definitively better, but it's the fact that Sabonis on a better. He's winning.
Yeah.
And he has similar numbers. So it's like, what's the what was the rationale of putting him over, on Vucevic? I didn't quite understand that. To be honest with you. I wish I could, unless every coach forgot that the Pacers existed, which most people do. That's the only way I can see why they're like, oh, Vucevic, yeah, him over Sabonis. I didn't really.
Yes. So what I wanted to say to piggyback what you're saying, because like you said, yeah, Sabonis and Vucevic are having pretty good seasons, but like I say, you would assume that coaches would prioritize winning in that situation, but maybe it was either last night or this morning, but I saw a very disrespectful tweet that we kind of already know this, but like it just kind of shows you how casual most of the media is about basketball. Because I saw a dude tweet like, is Sabonis the worst two-time All-Star of all time? And like, I don't know, that really just ticked me off because like, I'm not a Pacers fan, but like I like Sabonis. Sabonis is very good, and he's the best player on the Pacers. And I don't know, that just really ticked me off because like you said, you look at his numbers, they're All-Star numbers. They're in the playoff picture right now, and it's, I don't know, this kind of just takes me off. It's like, because when you think about it, like especially when you tweet something, you can't, like, you tweet it, you type it out, and you got to press send. Mm-hmm. It would, like,
you thought about it.
Yeah, exactly. And the time it takes you to write out that tweet and press send, there's a decent little window to where you could literally just look up the numbers, and then you be like, oh, let me not tweet that. And I don't know, and I can't remember who the dude was, but and then he was a shout out with me and Jordan were just talking about right before we started recording. That boy got ratioed on Twitter because everybody and their mom was like, "No, you're a fucking idiot." Like,
ratio that nigga.
And then if you looked at his replies, he was like, "Damn, I'm getting ratioed. My bad. Maybe I'll shut my fucking mouth." And I don't know. That just really ticked me off. I just want to say that. That really made me mad. Cause like, if you just watch Sabonis, like Sabonis, he can fucking hoop. Like, and like you said, like I get it's Indiana, but at the same time, like Oladipo played at Indiana. Like, granted, Oladipo is more exciting player than Sabonis, but at the same time, look at the numbers. Like, and look at the numbers, both his stats, and look at the numbers that they're a winning team. I don't know. That really just rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that tweet.
So I took time out to look up the stats. I'm like that guy. Sabonis is averaging 22 points. He's averaging 12 rebounds, averaging 6 assists. I did not actually know that. I did not know he was that good at passing. He's averaging also a steal a game, and he's shooting 53% from the field, 35% from three. So he's a decent floor stretcher for a power forward.
Interestingly enough, Vucevic may be a worse two-time All-Star than he is.
Exactly.
No, I agree.
So some of the I don't want to change the subject if y'all weren't done with this, but the thing that I want to say is the person that I've been hearing the most disrespect from. The person I've been hearing the most about is Trae Young. And niggas are like, how is Ben Simmons the All-Star game? Ben Simmons is trash. Trae Young should be in. It's no way Trae Young started last year. How didn't he make it this year? Bradley Beal is a starter. His team can't win a game, yada, yada, yada. Hey, man. Trae Young should not have been an All-Star. He should not have been an All-Star. I don't agree. I agreed. When they dropped the first list, I agreed with it. I thought maybe Sabonis was a snub, but Ben Simmons' impact on the game, his numbers
is way bigger.
His impact on the game, his impact on his team winning, and him and the team winning as much as they have this season, them being the number one team, there's no way they weren't gonna have two All-Stars. And and the thing is with teams like this, Chris Middleton didn't make it. But Chris Middleton made it when the Bucks were number one seed. When the Hawks had the one seed that year, somehow they had four All-Stars. Like the team with the one seed is gonna have two players make the All-Star game, or maybe even three, depending on how good the numbers are and how bad the other players are in the conference. Trae Young has been very underwhelming this season. He's pissed a lot of people off with his antics this season. A lot of coaches don't like him, and so a lot of players don't like him. So I definitely can see why he didn't make it. I think Trae Young.
He's not as efficient as he was last year.
Yeah, and Trae Young is gonna have to do this year, and he pissed his own teammates off. Trae Young is gonna have to win before he can get back in the All-Star game. I don't think, and like he can do what he's doing every year. And the 76ers probably won't be as good, and he'll probably make it. Or Bradley Beal won't be having as crazy a season as he's in. But he's going to make it most times because of his numbers. But until he starts winning, Trae Young is not going to get no respect.
I'm going to say what it's so funny because I think like in the player vote, he was ranked like 7th or like 6th out of the guards, out of just the guards. Now, like there's 5 guards people said were better than him. But I will say that you were bringing up not Donovan Mitchell. You were bringing up Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons most likely listed as a forward. I would have to guess. If I had to guess, probably listed as a forward. He probably because I'm guessing that like Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, and Jason Tatum were probably the forwards, and then like the guards were probably Harden and Jaylen Brown. And then the wild cards are probably like Levine and Vucevic. So it's more so like Levine probably beat him out. That's what that would be my guess. If they went with Levine, who's averaging like 30 points a game, and the Bulls are actually, I think, in the playoff picture.
And he's literally dragging. He's literally dragging that team.
Yes.
It's like him and Bradley Beal. Like what? I mean, shit. No, it's even better than Bradley Beal because I mean, even though I'm. As is documented, not the biggest Westbrook guy, but at least I think got Westbrook. Who Levine got?
Yeah, Levine's record at this moment is actually better than the Wizards and the Hawks record as things stand. Also better than the Magic record.
Probably better than the Celtics.
Yeah, Jordan will keep cycling back to that.
It's just so it's so inexplicable, and like the East is just so weird. And like I'll say this in Young's case, he's still as efficient. I think he's shooting the same splits as he was last year.
Okay.
He's averaging 27, 9 assists, which that's down from 30 and 10.
I was about to say nigga had 30 last year. Yeah.
He's still averaging what for a lot of people it could be some all NBA caliber numbers. He's still he's a sieve on defensive end. I think Young not getting in is a case of just purely not what he's done or not done. Is mostly how he's done it. And how that has made coaches not respect his game, how that's made players not respect his game. Because the coaches picked this. It ain't media. The media, people like to say, oh, the media don't know nothing about basketball. The coaches got here and said, Zach LaVine, that guy better than Trae Young this year. Put him in the All-Star game. Vucci, put him in the All-Star game. Like that was their call. Like I'm sure so basically he could have got selected over Vucevic too, but he didn't. So it was like coach said, I think what he's doing is more impactful than what Trae Young is doing. that when you really sit here and think about that, that's pretty insane.
I can't wait for Jacquez to watch this because he's gonna love it when we talk about Chris Paul. Then he's gonna see this section and he's gonna be mad.
And I'm gonna say this: I think Trae Young gets a bad rep. I mean, he's baiting for foul and stuff, but that's what Harden made a career out of. And Harden was like a multiple, all time, and he was a multiple All-Star starter for years in the Western Conference. Everybody hated how he played. So it's like
I was about to say,
I think people warmed up to James Harden, and James Harden won.
Yeah, that's true.
He won. That was the difference. I think that was the difference was because James Harden won. I think that's the difference because I don't think niggas warmed up to the way that nigga played because I mean maybe I'm speaking personally because I haven't watched too much. I mean except for when he first went to Brooklyn because I think everybody and mama wanted to see like how that was gonna work and ended up working pretty decently. So like I kind of like niggas gonna do what they're gonna do. But I don't, especially he's taking a step back and letting KD and Kyrie do their thing. Now he's averaging like more assists and less points. But like when that nigga was in Houston, man, I was gonna die on that hill that I hate the way that nigga plays. So like I said, I haven't watched as much Harden in Brooklyn as I did Harden in Houston. So and then plus like he's like he's not the guy in Brooklyn, so it's really like his like shine has diminished. Like it's still fucking James Harden, but his shine has diminished, and especially with this weird ass season, this whole weird year and a half, it's kind of easier for people to be like just kind of brush that aside. Like Trae Young, like one he plays like the same way or whatever, comparable, and then they're not winning, and then he's pissing people off. Like he's pissing people off not just the way he plays, but like in other ways too. And like you say, he's been pissing off his own teammates. As far as I know,
beefing with Steve Nash, Grayson Allen, and John Collins in like a week.
Exactly. So you know what I'm saying. So that's like a whole different story. So I think that's what the difference on that. But I think what I can't remember if Cameron Jordan said. The main thing is that James Harden the Houston Rockets were a top 3 to 4 seed every year. These niggas are like the 15th seed in the East right now. Yeah, so I think that's the main thing.
They're currently 11th. Your Detroit Pistons are 15th.
You're right. Fuck the Pistons.
So we're going to the next topic, but shout out to those guys who did make it. So shout out Trae Young.
Hey, free Blake Griffin.
Shout out to Jeremiah Grant. Shout out to Sexton. Them boys been playing like all-stars. Shout out to Gordon Hayward and shout out to LaMelo Ball. He isn't an all-star level player yet, but he been hooping. He been having games.
Hey man.
Hey, wait. Are we really shouting out Gordon Hayward during Black History Month?
You're right. I take that back. I rescind. What does the episode be out on Monday? Monday will be March 1st.
No.
It still don't feel right. My ancestors are weeping right now.
Hey man, LaMelo cooked us, man. We can move on, but that man cooked us.
Speaking of the end of Black History Month, we're going to talk about the Celtics next. The Boston Celtics are not having
I thought we were about to get a LaMelo pivot, and I was really ready for it because it was set up twice, and then just whoop.
We're going to talk about the Celtics. So the Celtics are currently the 6th seed in the East. They are sitting below 500. They are 16-17. Which comes as a surprise for a lot of people after how they performed last year. A lot of people probably had predicted to be like a top 4 seed at the very least. I mean, granted, the 4th seed is just 17-17, so they aren't that far away from them. But the Celtics started out like I think at one point during the season they were like number 1 seed. I want to say like maybe like 10 games in. They were pretty high.
They started off pretty well.
And I think I know there's a myriad of reasons why they have spiraled this way. But Danny Ainge just come out and said, yeah, this team is not good. They're not a finals team. That's my fault. I didn't build the team that is needed for my 2 stars. That's on me. And it's also led to an announcer calling out Tatum and Brown saying they got to be better. And it's also led to an anonymous player saying that Jason Tatum and Brown can make teammates better because all they do is score. They can't do anything else. Guys, what do you make of this Celtics situation, and where do these players go from now? What do you see for the Celtics in their future?
You said an important thing, Jordan. You said their 2 best players. Is Marcus Smart one of the 2 best players on that team?
He is not.
I wouldn't say best. I would say impactful.
Impactful.
Impactful. I was about to say impactful, not best, but impactful, yes.
Now he might be a top 2 most impactful player on that team because it kind of makes me think of like Patrick Beverly. Like the Celtics and Clippers mirror each other a lot in the way they're constructed. And I know when Patrick Beverly is out, the Clippers actually have like a losing record when he doesn't play. And that's simply because of roster construction, because when you take Patrick Beverly out, you don't have a point guard or a guard who can defend. So now you're starting like Lou Williams at point, or now you're starting Reggie Jackson at point. So now you don't have nobody that can defend at the point position, and now point guards are lighting you up, getting into the paint. And now Kawhi and PG gonna have to work harder on defense. And now you don't have a reliable person bringing the ball up court. So, and also like Patrick Beverly does a lot of rebounding for the team. So when
Marcus Smart does as well.
Yeah, but I'm saying so Marcus Smart is like that for the Celtics, where when he is absent, they lose a very good rebounder. They lose one of their best passers on the team. I think he averaged like 6-7 assists. And then and in his place, you had to play Kemba, who's been having an off year, cannot really defend, and also Jeff Teague, who can't really do anything.
That boy has been like that boy Jeff Teague has been damn near historically awful this year.
Putting up them Dwayne Bacon numbers.
So to DeLon's point, yes.
They are like, I just counted up, they are like 6-11 without Marcus Smart. Yikes.
And the crazy thing is that with guys like Marcus Smart, they go like under the radar so much. And it's amazing because you don't not only go from a guy who is a great defender to like an average defender. With both teams, the Clippers and the Celtics, you go from a guy who is a top tier all NBA defender to a guy who literally can't defend at all. It's crazy.
Yeah, and there's just nobody on that roster can replicate what Smart does. And that's what they've been struggling. On the flip side, when they were winning games when Walker wasn't playing, because all Walker can do is score, and they can find points in different places because two best players can score.
And it's crazy because Marcus Smart, that's the exact type of nigga. Every time contract year comes up, they always like, we can make without Marcus. They trying to get him down. I remember that exactly. And they always trying to lowball that man. But
same thing they did with Al Horford.
It's like, and it looks like Smart is proving his usefulness,
his value,
without actually even playing. And another thing, shout out to Dak Prescott, Mississippi. Another thing that has hurt the Celtics, speaking about not replacing production, is Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward left the Celtics and went to the Hornets. And when he was on the Celtics, he was, coming off the bench. He was like their leading scorer off the bench. He also acted kind of like a point guard where he handled the ball a lot out of the pick and roll. Okay, they lost Gordon Hayward. Who did they bring in to replace their best scorer off the bench and best passer off the bench? They brought in Jeff Teague, who's been almost unplayable. They brought Tristan Thompson, who doesn't do anything. Yeah, Payton Pritchard, yes. But he's a rookie. Like I was saying, they're relying solely on the rookies and the second, third year players they drafted in the first round, like Romeo Langford and I'm forgetting the other guy's name.
Robert Williams.
Yeah, but he's a center. So the Celtics are relying a lot on those.
Grant Williams, maybe?
Not Grant Williams. There's somebody else other than Romeo Langford that plays the perimeter for the
Celtics.
Who?
Tice? Tice?
No, not Tice.
He's talking about perimeter guy.
Yeah, I'm talking about a perimeter guy who can replace what.
No, never mind.
But regardless, he ain't doing it because I don't remember who the hell he is. So, I think the Celtics are a combination of things. Like DeLon said, they're missing one of the most important players in Smart. Then they lost Gordon Hayward and didn't have anybody to replace what they did. So now they're relying on rookie and sophomore players to be impactful as Gordon Hayward, and they just aren't able to do it. Jeff Teague has been a bust. I heard TT hasn't been he's been all right to serviceable, but like I said, they need somebody who could be like replace all-star level production. The team is there's just not enough around Tatum and Brown. Also Tatum was out with coronavirus for like some weeks, and he seems to be laboring out there. And I think he's even said his breathing isn't the same. And
he said he gets fatigued a lot quicker.
I tell you what, man, there's gonna be some blood on Adam Silver's hands if Tatum is never able to recover fully from this. Like if he's and that's always going to be how his lungs, like, it's going to be the full capacity of his lungs for the rest of his life. That's on Adam Silver's head and on this league's head. Like that's. I mean, I thought about that today. That kind of made me sad. I was like, this could be like, what if Tatum's always like this? What if he can't ever shake this? I hope he does, though.
I mean, it's not like. I mean, I feel what you're saying, but it's not like he don't always need to play NBA for the rest of his life. Like, true. I get what you're saying, though, Jordan.
Yeah, that's true.
But so a question I have for y'all, I don't know if we were getting ready to move on or not, but a question I do have for y'all is a lot of people have thrown out the question of should the Celtics try to make a move for Andre Drummond. They have I think it's like a $27 million trade exception where they could get him and not really have to give up much because of that, because of losing Hayward. So my question to you guys is, do y'all think Andre Drummond, with a healthy Marcus Smart and Andre Drummond added to this team, help fix what's wrong? Could that bring them back to being in the realm of the Nets and the 76ers? And I don't know.
Andre Drummond. Fuck Andre Drummond. That man has not played in this state for about 2 years, and I hate that man. No, he stinks. He stinks. I hate him. But that's all I gotta say.
I mean, that team could use some rebounding, sure, but Drummond isn't really a paint presence / scorer. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't really help them on that end in terms of like,
he don't defend, and he plays on max. And I'm saying as a guy who's seen this guy play 28 feet, like he was right there. He plays on max 75%. Like I don't think I've ever seen Andre Drummond play 100%. Like no, like he gonna do what he gonna do. He gonna do what he gonna do.
Don't put them numbers up.
Exactly. He gonna do what he's good at. I never took that away from him. But like Jordan said, he can't score. He Stephen A. Smith, when he was talking about Kwame Brown, the same thing. Everything he was saying about Kwame Brown. He does not have a post move he can put to memory. All the nigga do is get a rebound, and maybe if he think about it, he'll go up and dunk. That's it. That's all he can do. That is not, man. No, he don't defend. He don't play at 100% ever. He pouts, so that puts him at even less if he don't touch the ball, which is hilarious because when he touches the ball, he doesn't do anything with it. So it literally won't do anything. They'll their team rebounding will go up a little bit more. I mean, yeah, granted they'll get some more second chance points, but outside of that, no.
He make them a little bit better, not a lot bit better. And like I said, it's the main problem is they don't have people who can facilitate and get the offense going, which is just smart. So yeah, they need to look. If they're gonna get a big, they need somebody who can like legit lock down the paint and be a presence down there on the offensive end, like a go-to option in the paint. But yeah, I don't know who's available for what they have at this point because now all those picks they had are players, and those players aren't really that good. So I don't know who they're gonna trade those guys for.
That boy Danny Ainge really thought he was Jerry West.
Niggas was saying Danny Ainge can't draft if the pick ain't in the top 3.
Oh God! Hey, history has shown it ain't cap.
Yeah, that ain't cap. All right, so moving on to the Hornets. Gordon Hayward's having a good time. It looks like he's hooping with the Charlotte Hornets. Another former Celtic, Terry Rozier, is having one of the best years of his pro career, hooping on the Hornets. And the number 3 pick, LaMelo Ball, is balling. No pun intended. The guys actually killing it. The Hornets are currently the 10th seed, and they are only half a game away from the 8th seed. So the Hornets are competing for a playoff spot. To be honest, the reality is that the Hornets are only one game away from the 4th seed. That means that yes.
Dang, the East is trash.
I mean, I was about to say, are you surprised?
Is everyone great? It's just like the SEC. Everyone's record is just average because they have to beat up on each other, you know?
No, that's not what it is. The Heat are currently the Heat are the 5th seed and they have a losing record. They're 16-17. And the Hornets are the 10th seed and they're 15-17. So yeah, the Hornets actually could. They are a 2-game winning streak away from being the 4th seed. Like the guys have been good. They've been entertaining. They've been one of the more fun teams this year. Guys, what do y'all think about the Hornets?
Man, who pushed this topic, man?
It was Talon, actually.
Hey, man. Hey, this is Jaquez's this week. I've been trying to get this topic going for about 2 months. Probably before it was ready to come out the oven. But I'll be honest. In my Timberwolves misery this year with all of our COVID problems and our injuries to D'Angelo and Carl, I had to go somewhere to watch some hoops, So I decided to take my eyes to Charlotte. Man, LaMelo Ball is really a catalyst for that team. And it's amazing because LaMelo Ball has been so active off the bench for half the season, and also not really taking away from anyone's game like we thought we would, except for Devontae Graham, about 5 points a game. But other than that, you got to deal with it because it's a little bit more realistic, if we're being honest. But yeah, Gordon Hayward and LaMelo Ball make that team so great to watch, and they're really a team that are moving. They're making fucking Michael Bridges look worth something.
Whoa.
Miles Bridges look worth something. Don't you disrespect the Flint legend. Don't you disrespect the Flint legend. Miles Bridges look worth something. You gotta appreciate it, man. You gotta appreciate it. And especially with the East, everyone just sucks, especially because of COVID. It's great. This is the opportunity. This is what I said at the beginning of the year. With COVID, this is going to be someone's opportunity who should not be there. Just get a chance to do some things. And hey, let a matchup go right in the bubble, and somebody can do something.
The Hornets, they can fuck around, be the 4th seed, play against another not really great team. It's the 5th seed and be in the second round. Like that's all in play right now. Right now, LaMelo is tearing it up. I think in his last 10 games, LaMelo is averaging 20 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, 6 rebounds, and shooting 39% from 3, shooting 45% from the field. Blazing his last 10 games. The guys are actually hooping. My skepticism with LaMelo was always going to be his scoring, which is, that because I've seen how Lonzo's actually doing better with his shooting, but his funky form and inability to finish around the rim limits him as a scorer. I was like, can LaMelo Ball be a scorer? Can he be a legit threat every trip down the court? Not just when he's wide open because somebody kicked it out to him. Can he create opportunities for himself? And he's way ahead of the curve. Dude's shooting like 44% from the field as a rookie. He's doing pretty good on that end.
I ain't gonna lie. How did LeVar let Lonzo get that jumper? Like, how did he let him develop that shot?
That? It's funny because I was gonna say it before you said something. When you think about it, it's funny because LaMelo, his form ain't pretty either.
No.
I mean, it's not as bad as Lonzo because because Lonzo has been working with a shooting coach and apparently it's a shooting coach that's helped a lot of guys, but remember Lonzo used to do the Derek Fisher, that nigga, he would start it from here and bring it here and then shoot that, you know what I'm saying? And he's gotten better at that. And not only do the numbers show it, but you can literally look at it. It's like eye test. But it's funny because when you think about it, the one ball boy that's not in the league has the best shooting form out of all of them.
Yeah. And he's a sniper.
Yeah. But going back to what Jordan said, I'm mad because I don't know what my shirt is right now. Because, you know what I'm saying, I rep it, you know what I'm saying, I rep my set, you know what I'm saying. Y'all boys know my body, you know what I'm saying. Y'all know I rep BBB, you know what I'm saying. Well, now defunct BBB, we trying to bring it back, you know what I'm saying. But hey, some people surprised what LaMelo doing. You know who not? This guy. Hold it from the jump. He could have.
I say John never in doubt. John never
in doubt. Speaking to his existence. I'm trying to think of some other LeVar Ball catchphrases. Stay in your lane.
Never lost.
The bet. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, that's what I gotta say. Anthony Edwards is playing great sometimes, but boy, do I still wish we had LaMelo.
That's the question I was gonna ask you. Then I was gonna do you wish that the what's the name of the team? The Timberwolves had drafted.
Yeah. The day of, I wanted LaMelo over Anthony Edwards. And still I do because they're trying to do this D'Angelo Russell off ball thing anyway. Yeah, so it would have just made sense.
Made more sense, exactly.
And the amazing thing about the team is that no matter which team was going to get LaMelo, whether it was the Warriors, the Timberwolves, or the Hornets, each of those teams already had enough scoring on it to the point where LaMelo literally could just be a facilitator. And if he had gone to the Timberwolves, you got Malik Beasley averaging almost 20. You got D'Lo, who can't stay healthy, but is averaging like 20. Then you got Cat averaging 25. And, like, you got all these guys around him who can already score. If you had LaMelo on that team just distributing the ball, he could probably be averaging 9 assists right now because it's more talent on Timberwolves than it is on the Hornets. Well,
and honestly, like looking at D'Angelo's
more elite talent,
play decision making at point guard, he makes like such desperation passes. He gets dribbled into a corner so often. I've honestly seen LaMelo pass better out of double team situations than I have D'Angelo this season, or just getting trapped by someone larger on a switch. And it's like
LaMelo's a great passer.
Yeah, I know. But my thing is, I don't know if it's just because like all of those games, Cat wasn't there, and they were just desperation passes. And he's like looking at the rest of the team, like,
like, I mean, at this point, I don't want to pass it. At this point, I might as well just check that.
You know what,
I'm gonna tell you what.
Hey, at this point, this has got a better chance of going.
Just think about it. You can be a good passer, like capable of making hard passes, but you can also be a bad decision maker. So, like, kind of, I think that's what like Westbrook is. Like, Westbrook makes some godly passes from time to time, but he's also capable of just throwing that shit away. And it's like, well, why? Like, it's like that same pass, the same, like pretty much you said, like he makes some godly pass, like the same. He can make that same read. It's 50-50. He make that same read. It's either a godly assist or it's fucking sailing into the fucking, into the stands. Yes. So like I see what you're saying about D'Angelo, but okay. So before we move on to the next topic, guys, this is your chance to make history right here. I'll pull the clip when it happens. Will the Hornets make the playoffs?
Yes.
On the back of the Rookie of the Year. Yes.
Yes. And I'm not gonna say they're gonna win, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny.
What you gonna say?
I'm trying to think of like it had to be very specific for them to get a win, but.
I figured that's where you were going because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, depending on who they play,
I think they can beat most teams in the East 4 games out of 7.
Yeah,
I don't think like, but hey,
I'm gonna tell you what, fam. I'm gonna have to clip that because when you said and you looked to your, I think you looked to your right. You were looking at Cam's screen, and Cam was like, so it looked like. Okay, what you want to join in on this, Cam? You want to say they will? I'm gonna say
they make it to the play-in tournament and lose. Okay. So no, they don't.
I forgot about that. Even if you're like this, I forgot like 7 through 10 had to play. So right now, if the play-in tournament starts today, the Hornets would have to play the Knicks in the play-in tournament, and then they'd have to, and then they would have to, and then the Pacers would have to play the Bulls.
D Rose back to the Eastern Conference playoffs. Yeah, let's make that happen.
We'll see. So, all right. Let's talk about the better half of the Eastern Conference. Let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets, who, with James Harden, have propelled themselves to the number 2 seed. They're the number 2 seed now. They're only half a game behind the 76ers. Guys, the Nets have pretty much been handling the business. I think they are. Let's see. I don't have it pulled up, but like they have the best record in the NBA against teams above 500. They've been beating the hell out of elite teams.
Yeah.
They beat the Lakers. They beat the Clippers.
I think they're 11-2 against above 500 teams, and they're on an 8-game winning streak right now.
They've been beating everybody. And it's mostly fueled by just Kyrie and Harden. KD hadn't even played.
I was just about to say KD hasn't even played.
Are the Nets finals locks? That's my question.
No.
No, that's a shot coming from Zion.
No, it's not a shot because you're gonna say something about Giannis. Go ahead, Sean.
Oh yeah, that's why that was being sarcastic.
Oh no, it's I won't say they're locks. I would say they're favorites, but locks, no, just because we know how playoff basketball is. I mean, I would say with the exception of KD, we've seen the Nets' best 2 players be kind of schemed against. Like I think it would have to be, I don't want to say a perfect storm, but like it would have to be very situational. Like I think like I said, I think they're playoff. I mean, not playoff. I think they're finals favorites. Like if they made the finals, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. Like I don't think that's going to happen. But if they play a certain team, you know, and if everybody's healthy, and you know, I mean, they catch a team that's, you know, firing on all cylinders, that type of thing. It's playoff basketball. We've seen teams who have been great offensively or just great in general in the regular season. It kind of hurts my heart because I'm, you know, kind of
a Bucks fan.
Talking about, you know, yeah, exactly. Kind of talking about the Bucks, you know. So I mean, granted, the Bucks are obviously constructed differently than the Nets, but like I mean, so my main point is just locks, no, just because we know how playoff basketball is the NBA. You know, if certain things happen, like if certain players aren't healthy, you know, this season and the whole world is still weird right now. You never know what can happen, you know, when the playoffs happen. But with that, without saying it, I think if they play a team, if they play like the Sixers and like Joel Embiid is still playing MVP basketball, Ben Simmons is still playing Defensive Player of the Year, like, you know, you stick Ben Simmons on KD, and not saying Ben Simmons is gonna stop KD, but he gonna make it hard on them. You know what I'm saying? They about the same height. You know what I'm saying? Ben Simmons is obviously, you know, Defensive Player of the Year, great defender, and the Sixers are a great defensive team. And who's gonna stop Joel Embiid in the paint? Nobody.
I guess your question would then be like, who's gonna stop, you know, Kyrie and Harden? You know,
right.
if you got Simmons on KD, because Kyrie and Harden shown us that they can win the games just by their output.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like I said, like my whole point was like, I just don't think they're locks. Like yeah. I don't think the East is wide open, but I think it's open enough, especially because, you know, even with the Celtics, if the Celtics get, you know, if Jaylen Brown and Tatum stop playing like ass how they have been lately, and, you know, they get Marcus Smart back, and like they start to get back into, especially if they get him back soon, and they start to get back to a rhythm, and they're more a cohesive unit, you know, closer to playoffs. I mean, you know, Brad Stevens isn't Coach Jesus as everybody thought he was, but he's still fucking Brad Stevens, still a phenomenal coach. Mm-hmm. You know, and you got certain teams that can catch fire. You got certain teams who are good defensive teams. If they especially like if they play a certain team in like the first round or second round, and like, I don't want to say they get beat up, but, you know, a certain team takes them like 6-7 games, and then they got to play another team who like really gonna like be on their ass. Like if they got to play like the Bucks or the Sixers in like the Eastern Conference Finals, then I'm not gonna say they're gonna lose, but it's definitely gonna be tough. Yeah. So I think the East is probably like a 3-man race right now with Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia.
So, DeLon, and I'm gonna ask this before you go, Cam.
Yeah, go ahead.
DeLon, do you think the Giant Killers, known as the Miami Heat, could beat the Nets?
Are they gonna make the play?
I mean, it's in doubt. I mean, they are like they're 5th seed. Well, I'm gonna say this. Also, the Nets don't have the best record against teams against below 500, and the Nets, and the Heat are below 500. So
there's a threshold, though. There's a threshold. They gotta be there. You gotta be there to be somewhere.
They can very well not make it, but we'll see. They've rounded in the form ever since Tyler Hero got hurt. So wink, I should tell you why they're doing better. Cam, what do you think of the Nets' chances?
Man, look here. John, I'm going to use your argument against you. Okay. So I'll say this. The argument that you made is they are not locks because you gave a lot of stipulations and you said a lot of stuff. I think the reason that I'm definitely not going to say locks yet. I think it's very hard for us to say locks. The only locks that we've had in recent memory are the Cavaliers and the Warriors. And it's just because they were so much better than their counterparts. So locks, no, I don't think they are complete locks. But I don't see anyone in the Eastern Conference beating them in a 7-game series. And the reason I say I'm saying I'm using your argument against you is because you said if this, then this. If this, then this. That's like when I'm going to the casino and I'm making a parlay bet. And if I get this game and this game and this game and this game, I can win a lot of money. But all of that stuff has to happen. The Brooklyn Nets don't have to be at full strength. They don't have to be at full strength. They don't have to have everyone playing their best to beat anybody in the Eastern Conference just because they have that much star power. In the playoffs, we have seen what it comes down to is usually in recent history, a superstar wing or a superstar player coming through and making the plays that it takes to win games. We saw Jimmy Butler last year. We saw LeBron last year. We saw KD on the Warriors. We saw, LeBron multiple times before that. Then we saw Steph. I mean, not really Steph, but because Iguodala was able to, kind of give LeBron a run for his money. We saw that. So I'll say this. I don't see anybody beating them in the Eastern Conference. They look, I won't say unbeatable, but they look like they're going to be a very tough out for anybody. I think they are going to run. I see them in the finals. I wouldn't pick anybody else to beat them because I've seen them. And the thing is, their defense is horrible. We can all agree on that. But for one, we all say playoff basketball is different. So the game is going to slow down. Just because the game slows down, you got three guys individually who can go and get their own shot at any given moment. And I don't care who. Maybe Kyrie can be calmed down a little bit. James Harden, we know what he can. We know how he'll freeze up. Ain't no stopping. If KD is healthy, ain't no stopping him. I don't care who's guarding him 1-on-1. And I mean, if KD gets double team or triple team, guess what? He got Joe Harris, one of the best shooters in the NBA, and he got, I don't know who Jeff Green is, but he got other guys who can.
Let's just go back to Kyrie and James Harden.
Right.
We ain't going to Jeff Green and calling it a day.
Right. Exactly. So I'm saying all this to say, I'm not saying they're locks because, like we said, COVID year, anything can happen. But I don't see anybody beating them if they're healthy.
You're definitely not wrong.
I have the Nets in the finals. I'm gonna call them finals locks, mostly because the two teams that I feel like have the tools to beat them, have the personnel to get it done. I don't trust their coaches. Like I don't trust Mike Budenholzer. Just watching.
Oh, don't say his name to me. Why'd you have to say it? Why? I don't. His name wasn't gonna come up. I really didn't want to.
I don't trust them. I also like just looking at the roster. This roster just isn't as good as it was last year.
Is it not?
Nah, it's not. They playing one of Giannis' brothers. That should tell you plenty right there.
That's true.
I was in the watch like, bro, who is this? It was like Antetokounmpo.
Who is this?
I'm like, bro, that's not Giannis. I'm like, oh, that's it.
Other one.
That's the other one.
These niggas out of Jersey or something.
It's one of the other 8 niggas. One of the other 8 brothers.
not the one that did. Matter of fact, let me go look. Getting like the minutes. Cause I was like watching one game. I'm like, these guys is not hooping.
Well, for one, Drew Holiday is hurt, and so that's been a big part of it. But then the funniest thing that I've seen is when they played on ESPN recently, and there was this. It might have been TNT because I think Chris Webber was talking. But the funniest thing is they like Theonis, however you say his name, was on the court. And they were talking about how he's earning his minutes in the NBA. He's not trying to play off the back of his brothers and getting minutes and stuff like that. And I'm like, this nigga is trash. Like he out here playing hard. I give him that, but that's all he's doing.
You sweat a lot.
Yeah, he's averaging 2 points, 2 rebounds in 9 minutes.
He ain't quite Steph Curry, but
no, not there.
He ain't quite Robin Lopez, but
he ain't quite Justin Holiday, but
oh man, he ain't quite Taylor Griffin.
Nah, you right the same speed. You're right the same speed.
Hey, I can't even think. What's the youngest brother? The one who got drafted by the
Coasters.
No, not.
Aaron Holiday.
Aaron, yeah. He ain't Aaron Holiday. Like,
I'll be honest, I didn't know which Gasol I would be the logical one to say. So
I got one more. He ain't Lonzo Ball.
Hey, fuck that nigga Lonzo, man. Oh man, Listen, I'm tired of being a Lonzo apologist, man. I'm sick of it.
Jordan,
you could have said LiAngelo, bro.
Jordan, I'm not gonna lie. If we weren't recording, if we were just on a normal Zoom call, I'm not even gonna lie. Even though we are recording, I was like dead ass. I'm not even joking. I was this close to bowing out. I was about to.
Hey, John, who better, LaMelo or Lonzo? Who better, LaMelo or Lonzo? Right now, answer.
I'm not. Don't.
I will admit, Lonzo has been shooting considerably better. He's shooting like 7
wait till next
game.
week.
Yeah,
wait till next week.
Hey, Delon,
stop it, John. I don't care. I'm actually a Pelicans fan. I don't care what you have to say.
Hey. Lonzo is better at things than LaMelo is.
No, LaMelo is better at everything this year. He's just better.
Just shut your whore mouth. How about we just say that?
He's just better with less talent.
Delon, I gotta go home to Lonzo. He ain't gonna finish. That's my team. I ain't gonna let this shit slide.
That's my 1B. Come on, John.
All right. Speaking of,
man. Hey, how your rookie doing?
Oh,
then they had 7 points.
He got
the dunk. He got the dunk.
He's doing better than Lonzo. He's doing better than Lonzo.
I don't think he's doing better than Lonzo.
Cam. All right, there we go. Mute. He's doing better than Lonzo.
All right, guys. Speaking of light skin shooters, listen. Our last topic of the day, we're gonna talk about Steph Curry. Oh man, I've been on the roll.
Hey man,
Steph Curry. A lot of guys wrote him off after the Warriors started 0-2. They was like, look, I told y'all Steph Curry can't hoop without Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. He can't do nothing without starter level players, so he obviously sucks. I told y'all he a fraud, 73-9, and he lied. I
hate that so much.
I told y'all that Dame Lillard was better than him. They said all those things after the 0-2 start. Now the Warriors are currently 17-15, 2 games above 500. They currently have a better record than the Nuggets, who are the 8th seed. Ouch.
Yeesh. I know that. Yikes.
So technically, right now the playoffs started today. The play-in started today. They would play against the Grizzlies in the play-in tournament. They're gonna beat them. And the Nuggets play against the Mavericks. Sweet. That'd be awesome. I would love to see that.
Hey, that actually, niggas scoring 200 points a game.
That shit gonna be hot. So I hope it stays like that. But let's see, how many games behind are they? They actually, their record is the same as the Blazers. Well, they're the same percentage point as the Blazers, not exactly the same. So, guys,
fight for a playoff spot.
Is there an MVP case for Steph Curry, who is currently averaging 30 points, 6 assists, a steal a game, 6 rebounds a game, and he's shooting 48% from the field, 42% from 3, close to his MVP numbers? What do you guys think? Is there an MVP?
Of course.
I mean, I can't even.
Of course. I mean, because when you think about it, it's the same case. It's the same case. I mean, it's a little different just because like record wise, but it's the same. It's the same thing that people say about LeBron. Like, I mean, but it's kind of equal, because like when LeBron was carrying not good players to the playoffs, and the one year they went to the finals, that was the thing. Like they were like, oh, LeBron should have won MVP 8 years in a row. It's like, oh, because lack of talent, and he's still doing his thing, and they're still in the playoff picture. It's literally the same thing. Granted, it's different conference, and the West is the West, as we talked about, multiple times. And like because the Warriors are like 17, and they're the 7th seed, I think you said, and then you said the Heat were the 5th seed, and and the Heat are the 5th seed, and they're 2 games under 500. So that's the same. It's the same thing. He's playing. KD's gone. He's playing with a rookie playing. He was playing with a rookie playing big. Most of the nights, James Wiseman statistically is the second best player in the team, and he's a rookie, a darn good rookie, but a rookie nonetheless. Draymond Green, a Saginaw legend, Michigan legend. Draymond Green is being Draymond Green. He is, he's good at a lot of things, but
Might be coach of the year.
Hey,
damn sure playing shit.
On God. So Draymond Green doing that, and then you got Steph doing what he doing. Like, hey, and like you said, they had the slow start, and then the biggest one, he ain't got Klay Thompson. He don't have Klay Thompson. He don't have his Robin. You know what I'm saying? So, and hey, all I know, Steph heard the haters. He took them braids out, and niggas started hooping.
Definitely,
like you said,
took them braids out.
Oh God,
is there
like you said, he's having comparable numbers to his unanimous MVP. Like I'm not saying he should win MVP because in my opinion, as of recording, Joel Embiid is MVP. But there's a definite case that he's at least top 5, and he's carrying that team in the playoff picture.
So
what were you saying, Jordan?
Okay, I actually got 2 questions. I'm gonna ask DeLon one. I'm gonna ask you the other. So the one I'm gonna ask you this one, Cam. Should he be higher on the MVP ladder than Nikola Jokic, who is the 8th seed? Because a lot of people have been. If you look at the MVP ladder, like it's Embiid, Bron, Jokic, and Giannis, Kawhi. Like should Jokic not even be up there, and should Curry be more so be in that sphere?
I don't. But I don't think Steph should be in the stratosphere. And the reason that I feel like Steph, like top 5, but I think 1 and 2 are so far away from the rest of the top 5 that it's not close right now. And the reason I'm saying that is because every year, other than the Westbrook year, we see year where he averaged a triple double. Every single time we see something, every time we see an MVP candidate, it is one of the best player on one of the best teams in the NBA. Warriors are not in that category. They aren't close. And the only reason Westbrook won that year is because he averaged a triple-double. And we were so enamored with the stats that it clouded a lot of the media's judgment, I feel like. I don't even know if Westbrook should have been the MVP that year, but because he did something that he shouldn't have done, he won. So, DeLon, I'm going to let you go, Nick. I'm going to let Jordan ask you his question next. But no, I don't think that Steph should be in that stratosphere with the rest of them. I think it's LeBron, Embiid, and everybody else.
Adding to your point, Cam, I also think that Westbrook got a lot of us because that was the year that Kevin Durant left. So it was definitely like
great narrative. Great narrative.
That he actually did something. So narrative.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you, Lon. It's a similar narrative there for Steph Curry this year. Klay goes down. We all know that Draymond ain't what he used to be. A lot of people thought his team flat out sucked to start the season, and yet here he is at the 7th seed. Kind of like how when everybody thought that Westbrook team sucked, and he got him to the 6th seed. So by him putting up his unanimous MVP numbers, is there a similar case to the Westbrook case?
I mean, I think if that would have had to happen, it would have had to be last year because that narrative was a lot when Klay was out and Draymond missing time, and they didn't even have the Wiggins, who I think this season for the Warriors is a great example of bullying works in the case of Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre is averaging like 8 more points than he was the first 15 games of the season. Andrew Wiggins in the first 10 games of the season went from shooting 30 to 40% a game to shooting 40 to 60% after that. So definitely case of bullying works for them. Them waking up definitely improved their record. But I think he had it was a lot more chaos last year that would have been better for that narrative than this year.
Okay.
Well, and the argument is, I won't say that's not an argument to be made, but there is a case that someone, if they're psychotic enough to make the argument that he may not even be the most impactful, most valuable, quote unquote, player on the team. And that we could say that that's Draymond Green. Now, that's definitely slanderous. I don't agree with that. But if somebody wanted to make that argument, there is a slight case for them if they want to try it. It's not completely bulletproof because we saw what the Warriors were first couple of weeks of the season and in the past without Draymond. And then we see what they are with Draymond back on the court. So not saying that he's not the most valuable player on the team. I do think that, but I think that him being as valuable as he is, Draymond being as valuable as he is, kind of takes away a little bit from Steph. Whereas LeBron didn't win last year because of how valuable AD was. This year, AD isn't playing. That's why we see LeBron getting more consideration. And also, Giannis isn't getting the same respect because of what happened in the playoffs.
All right, fellas. I don't have any other thing else to ask y'all. You guys got any closing thoughts before we shut this show down?
No, I think I got everything out. Shout out to Book, the best all-star, non-all-star of all time.
I see a lot of discourse on Twitter this week against the statisticians of the world, against calling everyone who looks at numbers nerd. And while I do agree that playing is a lot more important than a lot of these super anal stats, I think a lot of people on Twitter are getting a little carried away by just completely disregarding every stat that's not points, rebounds, assists, and then like everything else is not mattering.
That's how it's always been,
man.
Yeah, just remember, people, it is a healthy balance. You can learn a lot from a team based on some numbers and a couple of advanced stats. Just don't, it doesn't have to dominate every decision you make, and don't take your opinions based off only watching games or only looking at stats.
Hey, to your point, Delon, I'm sorry. I did have something else I want to say. I couldn't remember what it was. The Nuggets, y'all are a disgrace to the NBA for the way that y'all ended that game, man. Y'all gonna have a 4-on-1 fast break and nobody ran to goal and your team is down 2. Like that's not even basketball. Like that I understand analytics. I understand y'all want to win the game. I understand all this other stuff. Please, somebody just run to the. If y'all were tired of playing, y'all should have just said that. Run to the goal. Somebody would have been wide open for a 3. All you got to do is run to the goal. Oh my, that pissed me off, man.
Hey, Cam. You know what that felt like, man? That felt like I was at LA Fitness hooping, and it was game point, and we only needed 1, and they just want to do overkill.
And run to the 3-on-1.
Just lay the ball on. And then also to that point, granted, yes, I do. I am 110% with you. Yes, they should have went for layup, should have went for overtime. But the dude who shot the ball, I looked it up. I can't remember his name, but he's a rookie.
Capazzo, I think is his name. Campazzo.
Yeah, it's something like that. I get you want to be the hero against your rookie year. I get it. If you don't swing that ball to Michael,
he should have had that ball in his hand. He should have
3 feet away from you,
wide open.
That obviously yes, them shooting it in general was like the thing that you pissed me off the most. My thing is like you have Michael, and then he barely hit the rim. Like if you look at, he shot the ball and that bitch went it grazed the rim. It grazed in front of the rim. You have Michael fucking Porter Jr. 3 feet to your right. If you don't swing that if you gonna shoot the 3, give it to that. Yeah, but so my closing thoughts is, y'all see what Shaq said about how he's gonna be nicer to these bums?
Yeah,
man, I love Shaq. I think most people love Shaq, but fuck this, he's so lame, bro. He's so lame. Like, and then there was that segment. Like, I mean, they've been doing it for years.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
There's that segment where he they ask him to like pick players now. They show him a picture and I get
name the player.
Yeah, it's like for a casual fan, I get you can't name Rashawn Holmes, you can't name certain players, but like one you're Shaquille O'Neal. 2, it's like, bro, like your job is to analyze basketball. You know what I'm saying? And another is just like, bro, you're one of the greatest players of all time. Like I get it. You don't have to be friendly with everybody, but like, this is one of those things. Like him and like other old retired, stars who criticize everything about the game today. Like that I don't know. That's thrown me off for a while. And then him saying I'm gonna be nice and not only that he said he's gonna be nicer. When he said I'm gonna be nice to this bum, that just kind of reiterated how I already felt about it. And then one more thing. The only other thing I was saying, Cam, send me your Snapchat because DeLon, Jordan, and Cam. This is all because this is all DeLon's fault. Next time I'm in my car, I'm banging that ZO2, and all y'all niggas getting Snapchats up. Since DeLon want to be disrespectful to DeLon's old ball.
Go ahead, Jordan.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in to the episode of Popular Man Podcast. Tune in next week for another episode of your favorite podcast. See you then.